Most people don't stay stuck because they're lazy. They stay stuck because figuring out how to change everything can feel overwhelming. And that's exactly how I felt. When thinking about changing my life, I thought, I need to try to figure out what I actually want. Make more money, be more productive, exercise more, eat healthier, drink less, have more freedom, work less, do something meaningful, follow my dreams, invest more, plan for my future, schedule my time better. You get the picture. When all that hit me at once, I felt overwhelmed and exhausted before I even started. I think a lot of people live like that, constantly carrying responsibilities while quietly feeling there's another version of themselves they'd prefer to become. But recently, I've started seeing things differently. Maybe the goal isn't to change everything at once. The goal is to start small, but start with what matters. And when I say what matters, I don't necessarily mean the most practical things. I mean the things that make you feel more connected to who you are. Things that give you energy, meaning, and curiosity. Things that make you feel happy and fulfilled. Things that make you feel more like yourself again. For me, part of that has been doing something creative. Something that gives me a sense of purpose. Like making these videos, writing, reflecting, learning new skills. Just having fun more often by doing those things that I find enjoyable more regularly. For me, one thing I do more regularly is I watch comedy more often. I've been surprised by how just laughing more frequently can benefit my mood and general outlook on life. And that's what I want for you too. But honestly, only you know what those things are. So, make a list. They don't have to be major events, small things done regularly. The old saying, the best things in life are free, is said for a reason. So include some items that don't cost anything. Some items on my list, as an example, enjoying a movie and not feeling guilty about it, swimming some laps for exercise, going out to dinner and a show, playing golf with my friends, and going on a short weekend holiday, spending time with some of my brothers and sisters that I don't see as often as I would like. And I haven't mastered this yet, often revisiting old habits, but it feels like I have momentum. I feel more alive, and that does matter. For a long time, I approached life very differently. I thought, work hard now, make money now, and then later, you'll finally have time to enjoy life. But I realised that mindset was a convenient excuse not to try. It was masking my fear of failure and feeling not good enough. And by disconnecting from the things that mattered to me, my life slowly became built mostly around obligations and responsibilities. And my plan to enjoy my life later never arrived. The years passed quickly, and I became so focused on surviving life that without realizing it, I slowly stopped participating in it. And like me, I think that's why so many people feel stuck. Not because they're incapable or unmotivated, but because they've lost connection with those small things that gave their life meaning in the first place. And like me, don't fully understand why they feel the way they do. Often we focus on what we think are bigger things that we want in our lives, when it's the smaller things that can make a big difference. And that's an experience I had recently. I realized something else. I really wanted to change. So I put a lot of pressure on myself to try and fix everything quickly. Unrealistic goals, huge expectations, and major life overhauls. And of course, that didn't work for me. So I tried goal setting, reminder apps, scheduling everything in my calendar, and some very poorly written affirmations. But nothing really lasted very long. I'd lose motivation, I'd lose focus, I'd fall back into old patterns. And what I'm starting to notice is that meaningful change often begins much smaller and quieter. It starts with awareness. You can't change what you don't know you want to change. So schedule something small regularly. A 10-minute walk twice a week, a healthy breakfast 2 days a week, watch a podcast or something relevant once a week, phone a loved one once a fortnight. I started listening to music again and singing along on the weekends. I recorded my own voice on my iPhone detailing what changes I wanted, and I would listen to these going off to sleep. And that was a way of reminding myself daily of what I wanted. The point is that doing that regularly becomes a habit over time, and I found that when I achieved those small goals, I felt successful. I was creating a success mindset, and that's what matters. The small changes start to add up over time. That's when the power of compounding starts to shape the person we become. Those small changes didn't magically fix my life, but they reconnected me to who I am deep down and what I want for myself. And once that connection starts coming back, momentum starts building naturally. And I've noticed that the more time I spend doing things that feel meaningful, the less trapped I feel by the things that don't. Not because my responsibilities suddenly disappear, they haven't, but because life no longer feels entirely built around obligations. And that's an important distinction. One of the best places to start is with being honest with yourself. Just sitting down, asking yourself questions. Questions that most people like me avoid because we get too busy. I started writing things down and trying not to filter it. I was just trying to understand how I felt and why I felt that way and what I wasn't happy with. I questioned what problems was I having, what I want to do with my time, what am I doing that makes me feel drained, and what do I want more of in my life, and what do I want less of? What would a meaningful life actually look like for me? What would I do if I had a lot of money? That was a really important question. So the question was not, does someone else want? What did I want? Me. Now, up to that point, I was living a version of success I never fully consciously chose. I realized I had inherited a lot of it from family, even our Australian culture, including pressure to always be productive, expectations from myself mostly, but also others, and years just trying to keep up with life. And eventually I realized I was exhausted and unhappy, wondering why life feels so heavy. Not something I could solve overnight, but I could solve it over time by starting to change things slowly, making small decisions, small shifts, just small moments of honesty. And that's what I'm trying to do now, not all at once, gradually building a life that feels more aligned with who I actually am. And I think that's enough because real change doesn't begin when everything is fixed all at once. It begins with the moment you stop ignoring small things that matter to you and start making some space for it again.